30 frames. 0 wait. Your phone just saved a photo it captured before your finger ever touched the shutter. No time machine, no lucky timing. Break time equals 0. 6 is slash. Here's exactly how a camera captures the past. You know the miss. The baby smiles, you tap, and the photo is a blurry frown. The dog jumps, you tap, and it already landed. On older phones, there is a gap between your tap and the actual capture. That gap has a name, shutter lag, often 1/5 of a second. 0 shutter lag is why modern phones nail the moment. But the trick is stranger than the phone just being fast. Start with why the lag exists at all. When you tap, the camera does not fire instantly. It runs a checklist first. It has to lock focus so the image is sharp. It has to measure the light so the shot is not too dark or too bright. Then the sensor has to read itself out, line by line, and hand the data to the chip for processing. Each step is fast. Stacked together, they take real time. On a proper camera, a DSLR, there is a physical mirror that flips up and a shutter that snaps open. You hear the clunk. On a phone, none of that moves. It is all electronic. But electronic does not mean instant. The focus, the metering, the readout, the processing still happen in order, and they still cost milliseconds. Now here is the human scale. A relaxed smile lasts maybe half a second. Peak action, the dog at the top of its jump, lasts a blink. If your camera burns 1/5 to 1/4 of a second just getting ready, the moment you aimed at is already gone by the time the sensor actually looks. That covers the what. The stranger question is why modern phones do not miss. Here is the reveal that changes everything. Your camera is not sitting there waiting for you to tap. From the second you open the camera app, the sensor is already running. Continuously. Think about what you actually see before you shoot. A live picture on the screen that moves as you move the phone. That live preview is not magic. It is real frames, captured by the real sensor, streamed to the screen fast enough to look like smooth video. Typically that is 30 frames every second. Say that again. 30 times a second, the sensor grabs a full image and throws it onto your screen, long before you decide to press anything. So the whole time you're framing the shot, lining up the toddler, waiting for the dog, the camera has already captured that moment. And the one before it. And the one before that. Every single frame you saw in the viewfinder was a photo the sensor already took. It just showed it to you and moved on. The sensor never sleeps between shots because there is no between. It is always shooting. Which raises an obvious problem. If the camera is capturing 30 images a second and only showing them to you, where do all those already taken frames go? The answer is a short memory queue, and it is the heart of the whole trick. As each fresh frame comes off the sensor, the phone tucks it into a small holding area in memory. Not forever, just the most recent handful, roughly the last 15 to 30 frames, which is about half a second to a full second of the immediate past held ready. Now picture the shape of it. It is a loop. When the queue is full and a new frame arrives, the oldest one gets overwritten and thrown away. New frame in, oldest frame out, over and over. So at any instant, the phone is holding a sliding window of the last second, always fresh, always rolling forward. Engineers call this a rolling frame buffer. That is the term, and it is worth keeping because it names exactly what is happening. A buffer of frames that constantly rolls. Here is the part people miss. These frames are basically free. The sensor was already capturing them to feed your preview. The phone is not doing extra work to get them. It is just choosing to keep the last few around instead of instantly discarding them. The only cost is a sliver of memory. No extra shooting, no extra battery for the capture itself. The camera was going to take those photos anyway. It just started saving its receipts. Now watch what actually happens when you tap. This is where 0 shutter lag earns its name. When your finger lands on the button, the phone does not run off to capture a brand new frame. It does not restart the focus and readout checklist. Instead, it turns around and reaches into that rolling buffer. It looks at the frames it already has, checks the timestamp on each one, and grabs the frame that best matches the instant you pressed. And here is the clever twist. It can reach backward. Your finger is slow. There is a delay between the moment your brain decides now and the moment your fingertip actually touches glass. There is also the old processing delay. So the phone compensates. It does not grab the frame from the moment the tap registered. It can pick a frame from a hair before that, closer to the true moment you were reacting to. Break time equals 0, 6 is slash, read the hook again. The photo your phone saved was captured milliseconds before your finger ever touched the shutter. That is not a figure of speech. It is literally a frame pulled from the buffer, taken while your finger was still traveling through the air. The wait is 0 because there is nothing to wait for. The photo already exists. So why not just keep everything? Why hold half a second and not the last 5 minutes? 2 reasons, and they are the same 2 reasons that limit everything on a phone: memory and power. Every frame held is space taken and energy spent keeping it live. A tiny window is cheap. A long one would eat your storage and drain your battery for photos you will almost never want. So the buffer stays deliberately small, and the old frames are thrown away the instant they age out. Now modern phones push this further. Once you have an always-on stream of frames sitting in memory, you can do more than pick one. You can grab several at once and blend them. That is what night mode and HDR actually are. The phone stacks multiple buffered frames, one exposed for the shadows, one for the highlights, and fuses them into a single cleaner image. Same always-on stream, more frames used. There is a trade-off worth naming. The frames streaming for preview are lighter, lower-quality versions, tuned for speed, not for a print. So once the phone has chosen your frame, it often does heavier processing on that one afterward, cleaning it up to full quality. The buffer wins you the timing. The processing wins you the polish. Now the whole thing clicks. Zero shutter lag was never about the camera being fast. It is about the camera being always on and letting you reach backward. The sensor streams 30 frames a second the entire time the app is open. The phone quietly keeps the last second of those in a rolling buffer. And when you tap, it does not go take a picture. It reaches into that queue and hands you a frame it already had. That is the 30 frames, zero wait promise. The frame you wanted already exists the very instant you decide you want it, so there is nothing left to wait for. Break time equals 0, 6 is /reframe the magic as plain engineering. Your reflexes are slow. Your finger is slow. The moment you are chasing is usually already half gone by the time you react to it. So the phone stopped fighting your reaction time and started recording the immediate past on your behalf. It is not capturing the future. It is refusing to forget the last second, so your slow human timing never costs you the shot. So next time a photo comes out perfectly timed, the toddler's laugh caught at its peak, you will know the truth. Your reflexes did not nail it. A buffer did. The phone plucked that moment from a second of the recent past it was quietly holding for you. And once you see the always-on stream, the next question almost asks itself. If the phone can keep several of those frames and blend them, how does it stack them into a single night mode shot that sees in the dark? That is the same buffer used a whole new way. We will open that box next.